Hi, seventh grade. Today is Friday. On Thursday, we focus on the beginning of the Aztec Empire. Today, we're going to continue working on that, and I want to give you guys some dates. Um, Now, some of these dates are based on kind of myth, so we don't know exactly how accurate they are. So, the first one is going to be 1100. That's when the Aztecs, also known as the Mexica, leave 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 their original homeland, Aslan. Leave Aslan. Okay, and we went over Aslan yesterday, and we're gonna go over it today. So Aslan is I'm gonna make some marks here, but Aslan will be this area that I highlight in red. Again, we don't know exactly where Aslan is. That's where they originally come from. That's where the term Aztec comes from. Okay, so as Aslan, that's when they, so in 1100 they're around. That's when they leave. Okay, they leave that, and they migrate to Mexico, central Mexico. Okay, and we'll talk about that in a second. So that's when they leave. Um, in the 1200s, that's when they settle in central Mexico. What is today Mexico City? Okay. Um, More importantly, the Valley of Mexico. 1325 is when they start their capital. That's when they begin construction of their capital city, which is Tenochtitlan. Okay, and we're going to be spending quite a bit of time on that. Tenochtitlan is their capital city, and it's in the middle of a lake. Aztecs is the people of Aztlan. Okay, they did not call themselves Aztecs. This is a term that is developed in the 1800s, so way after the Aztecs empire had fallen. Okay, the Aztecs are the same people as the Mexica. Okay, Lake Texcoco is the lake where they settle, and I'm just giving you vocabulary right now so you guys can preview for the reading and the video. So this lake is the lake where the Aztecs settle. You might be wondering, how can you settle on the lake? Well, the lake looks like this, right? I'm gonna make this black. There's like an island in the middle, and then everything else is like water, right? So they settle in the kind of like in the middle of the lake. Okay, so the lake is called Texcoco. This is the lake, and their capital is called. This is the. I'm gonna just darken it up. This is Tenochtitlan. Okay, and Tenochtitlan eventually is gonna get bigger and 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 bigger. And eventually it's gonna get really big. Eventually only a little bit of the lake is left. Okay? So the lake kind of disappears. There's still a little bit of the lake left, but for the most part, the city takes over everything. Tenochtitlan is the capital. Oh my God. Tenochtitlan is the capital. Capital city. This is the capital city of the Aztecs. and it's located in Lake Texcoco. I told you that some of these words are going to be really important, um, like Lake Texcoco is going to be really important. Lake Texcoco is going to be really important. Tenochtitlan is going to be really important. The word Aztec is going to be really important. Mexica is going to be really important. So these are words that you should always keep in mind because they are going to be really, really important. Okay. Um, okay. So 1100s they leave their homeland, ancestral homeland. 1200 they settle in central Mexico, and then 1325 they develop their city. If you want to visit the Tenochtitlan today, it's below Mexico City. Mexico City was built on top of it. Okay, I'm gonna go over this real quick. Okay, the Aztecs trace their history to Aztlan. Again, Aztlan is this region. According, again, we don't know. We think this is where it is, but we don't even know if it's a real place. An area north of the Valley of Mexico, perhaps in what is now southwest United States. So southwest United States is this part. Okay. I don't like this color. Okay. The Aztecs call themselves the Mexica, pronounced Machica, a name from which Mexico is derived. So Mexica, Mexico. The term Aztec means a person of Aztlan. So Aztec comes from the term Aztlan. It was first used in the 19th century. So the Aztecs did not, I should just call them Mexica, right? Because they did not call themselves Aztecs. But it wasn't until the 1800s that someone decided to call them the Aztecs because of this story that they came from Aztlan, to distinguish the modern people of Mexico from the ancient civilization. Because the modern people of Mexico are Spanish and not Aztec, so that's a little confusing. When the Aztecs arrive in the Valley of Mexico, so the Valley of Mexico, I'm gonna try to pick a different color. The Valley of Mexico is this area here, Central Mexico. So if they came from from here, this area is like up here somewhere if you keep going. So they move this way. Okay. When the Aztecs arrive in the Valley of Mexico, about 1300, their neighbors scorned them. Scorn them means they kind of hated them. They kind of just thought of them as being kind of, not the nicest people. The people of the valley consider themselves to be proud descendants of the Toltec people. So the people that lived in central Mexico thought themselves really high and, kind of like royalty and mighty. And they view the Aztecs as savages, uncivilized drifters, crazy people. Okay, so the Aztecs were not welcome when they first got to central Mexico. The Aztecs wandered around the valley, wandered, kind of like nomadic, until the king of Culhuacan, pronounced Culhuacan, allowed the Aztecs a permanent home. Again, when I say Aztecs, Aztecs are the Mexica. A permanent home in exchange for working as mercenaries. So he was a king in this area that allowed them to settle there, but they had to work for him, right? And mercenaries, they became his like personal soldiers. Mercenaries are soldiers hired to fight for a living. The Aztecs also wore that lowly job, so jobs that other people didn't want. As time passed, the Culhuacan people began to respect the hard work and brutal fighting skills of the Aztecs. So the Aztecs were pretty good at war, fighting. Okay, and then things get a little more serious. In 1323, the king offered his daughter in marriage to the Aztecs, thereby inviting them into his royal family. So the king said, "You can marry one of your people can marry my daughter." The Aztec sacrifice, and this unit sacrifice is going to be a big part, right? The Aztecs do sacrifice people to keep their gods happy, especially the god of war. The Culiacan princess So they sacrificed the girl to this god. Remember this god? That's the one that told them where to settle. The bloodthirsty god of war. The Aztecs believed that they had to feed the the god with blood. The enraged king expelled or kicked the Aztecs, forcing them once again to wander the Valley of Mexico. I'm going to show you guys a clip. This is obviously a recreation. This is not a real heart. If you are offended by this, I'm sorry. Okay. So the Aztecs are asked to leave, or they're kicked out. You'll see in a second. The Aztecs lived in a land of earthquakes that caused great destruction. Their legends said that the gods destroy and recreated the world over and over. They believe that the world will be destroyed once again if they did not satisfy their gods by providing them with human sacrifice. So the Aztecs believe that the gods need human blood. Otherwise, the gods will be unhappy and destroy the world. Oops, sorry. An Aztec priest had a vision. This is where you get the vision, right, of where to settle. An Aztec priest had a vision that they should build their new home, a vision given by a god, by this god. A new home at a place where they found an eagle sitting on a cactus with a snake in its mouth. After 2 years of wandering, the Aztecs found the unique vision in a small island in the middle of Lake Texcoco, found in central Mexico, so that they waded into the shallow lake to build their new home. The image of the eagle, cactus, and snake is part of present-day Mexico, the present-day flag of Mexico. Okay, so to summarize, here is their ancestral homeland. And from there, they migrate here and they settle in central Mexico. Okay? And it is here where they develop their empire. It is here in Lake Texcoco that they build their capital city. I'm not going to go into every detail with who they fought and why they fought and who they sacrificed. All you need to know right now is that this is where they settled. They settled in central Mexico, modern day Mexico. Okay, this is Mexico. And that's where they developed their empire. And their empire would eventually get really big. Okay? Yeah, you can have these questions for answering in Google Classroom. What did the Aztecs call themselves? Why do we refer to them as Aztecs? What is the meaning of the eagle? What is the name of the lake? What is the name of the Aztec capital? And what modern day country they developed? Let me show you guys a short clip.